Well, that was interesting. Terrible, terrible. I think tree size actually might have freaked out my computer. It finished. I was able to finish it much, much quicker. I think the connectivity over the network combined with me streaming at a 10K bit rate really broke something. Because thing go kabooey. Sorry about that, Ninja. Yeah, so basically what we're looking at here is, for those that are just joining, I apologize. We had a big streams crash, and I had to start a new one. So to give you guys an update of what we're working on, we are wrapping up the build for DatacenterDude's data center. And it really all started with the idea that we wanted to upgrade and introduce larger capacity Red Pro drives, non-SMR. Don't put SMR drives in your NAS. Non-SMR high-capacity drives. And also that led to a conversation about introducing 10 gigabit Ethernet. That also highlighted the fact that I've got multiple switches here in the studio. The house is completely wired. I needed to really centralize my drops for the house. And it just snowballed into what became DatacenterDude's data center, right? Give you guys a little sneak peek over there. There's a couple Synologies. It's really zoomed in right now. I apologize. We'll fix that in a few minutes. But this really all started with talking about and ordering a new NAS from Synology that had 10 gig capability a couple of months ago. And this all snowballed into a very, very large project. So where we're at now is basically doing an overlook of what is in my... I'm using 7 terabytes. And if we look at the actual Synology itself, it says I'm using 7 terabytes. That one, the NAS share, oh, that's what it is. That's where the other 2 terabytes are. Got it. Okay, so now it all makes sense. Plus, Google Drive is out here as well. Outside of it, which is interesting because it's putting it into NAS. That's something I'm gonna have to work out from my data management, where I organize things and things like that. So yeah, it's there's a lot of busy work to do, but I really wanted to break this down into 2 separate scenarios. One, I've got the new Synology. I intentionally populated it with 1 terabyte green Western Digital drives that I used to use 10 plus years ago in a free NAS array. All right, and if we pull that one up to 11, Enterprise, Voyager, nerd alert. Yeah, something went kablooey on the computer there for a minute ago. That was not fun. But with YouTube, why is this not logging in? Come on, guys. I wonder if it's getting conflicts out of the 10 gig. The beauty of YouTube is that when you do a live stream, it's live, but once it's done, it stays in perpetuity as a video, as if you made any other video and uploaded it to YouTube. So I want to make sure that as this is going to stay around, that I tell the whole story that I told before things went kablooey. I had a free NAS HTPC. Well, it was an HTPC with a giant Adaptec RAID card and I think 10 1 terabyte drives in it that had all of my stuff in it. This was way before I got the Synology. And eventually I wholesale replaced that with a Synology, headless, effectively. Without having to have a Windows operating system in front of it. And was able to distribute media and do backups and things like that throughout the house. Something's wrong with this guy. Anyway, I wrote that article back in 2014. Storage Guy Gets a Synology. blew up, went viral. Synology backed it and supported it, offered their help on anything that I needed. Western Digital chimed in. So I reached back out to those contacts that I had that fortunately are still there and was able to get. I did buy the Synology myself, but to be full disclosure, Western Digital did supply the drives for all of these projects that we're about to venture into. So thank you, Western Digital, for the support there. I'm looking forward to making some really killer content such as these streams. But in addition, we're going to make some how-to videos around a lot of this stuff. So what I was thinking about doing, we've got two paths. The first thing I need to do is take care of my production NAS workload. And currently, it is about almost 70% utilized, which is getting into territory that I'm not terribly comfortable with. So the initial push was more capacity. When we started going down that conversation route, everything snowballed into what we now have as DatacenterDude's data center. 3 switches, 2 Synologies, a patch panel, some Panduits, a 22U rack, a UPS, and a trip light power strip. Yes, Friday we were punching down a patch panel on stream. In case you missed that, you can find it on the channel. It was a lot of fun. Broke out some skills I haven't used in nearly 20 years. Still got it. Still got it. So yeah, looking at this, we've got 8 2 terabyte drives. So again, the two paths, we can, with the new Synology, we can just put the new drives into the new Synology, create a brand new blank volume, and in a very boring way, copy 7 terabytes over the network to the new Synology. And just sort of move things. Reestablish the shares, reestablish the permissions, bada bing, bada boom. That sounds kind of boring. That sounds like the sort of status quo thing. What's more interesting to me is deleting the volume on the new Synology, removing the 1 terabyte drives, and doing a volume chassis migration of the drives. And it works as long as you put the drives in the same drive bays. We're going to look up some articles today. I've been researching this. As long as you put the drives in the same drive bays and use the migration assistant tool that they've got, it will relink all the drives to the existing volume on the new chassis. Pretty cool, right? I haven't looked through all of the step-by-step documentation and what you need and all that kind of stuff, but it is pretty turnkey from what I understand, the little bit that I've read so far. Then we can take the new drives. The new drives, and then with one of the other things with SHR-2 is you can start one by one replacing the 2 terabyte drives with a 14 terabyte drive. Give it a little bit to rewrite its RAID stuff to do its thing. You can basically like fail the drive, and it will tell you when it's safe to take it out, pull one out, put one in. Let it do its thing. And then you just do that 7 more times, right? And we're going to see how that works today. We're going to try it. But I wanted to get this whole plan together of how we were going to do this, because this is my production NAS. This is my data. I can't lose a lot of this stuff, right? So I'm doing this because I need to do it, but I'm doing it also live because I want you guys to see the process, and just know that you can do this kind of stuff at home in a very, like, I can't even hear anything running in the data center. Everything's either fanless or whisper quiet. So once we move the 2 terabyte volume and all 8 drives over to the new chassis, and then step 2 would be to start wholesale swapping each of the drives one by one. Take the 2 terabyte drive out, put a 14 terabyte drive in. 7 more times. Once that's done, we can take the 2 terabyte drives, put them back into the old NAS, and have another 11 terabytes available to us in a fresh, new, wiped clean volume. That sounds a lot more interesting. And then eventually, once those 2 terabyte drives get phased out, or if Western Digital wants to continue to partner on some of this stuff, they can send another set of drives over. We can go high capacity again. Unfortunately, there is no way. What I was really looking into and what I wanted to try and do was just extend or treat one of the Synologies like the older one as a shelf and just add 8 more drives but there's no way to do that. They have disk expander units, but they're only like 2 or 4 drives. Some of their rack mount higher end enterprise stuff does have shelves, disk shelves, but not these home studio sort of devices, unfortunately. So, the question is where to begin. Did this ever... Yeah, it did pull up finally. Okay, so let's go to Storage Manager. And there we can see the 8 1 terabyte drives. So let's look something up real quick. Synology chassis upgrade. Can I move drives from one to the other? Yes. You have a DS14. It currently has 4 drives in it, 2 12 terabytes and 2 16s. I wonder if I would purchase a 918 and move the old drives to the new chassis in the exact same order. With a reason I want to, you will need to do a migration. The whole process took less than 30 minutes, and everything was back to normal. You need to relog into your Synology Quick Connect account if you use one, but for the most part, all the other settings move over with the migration. There are some migration restrictions when it comes to different value models. I'm not sure you can migrate directly from a Play to a Plus using an HDD migration. Okay, let's go look at that. Source and destination NAS. Performing migration moves data or drives from one NAS to another. In this article, the original Synology from data or drives removed shall be called the source. The new one will be called destination. Okay. Shared folders, selected packages. Go to Hyperbackup, create icon, data backup. That's right. You got to back up your system config, your license keys. I don't think I have any of those. Photo station. Don't have any of those. Check the hardware and DSM of the destination. Okay. Choosing the right migration method for you. Hard drive migration. So, to a different is not available if your source Synology is listed below. 17 series. No! Well, that rules that out. Guess we're doing a copy. Guess we're going to do the boring version. Migration to a different NAS model is not available if your source is listed below. This is our destination, not our source. Okay, there's hope. So the source is a DS1813 Plus. If your source Synology is not listed above, refer to the table below to see whether your source and destination are able to migrate through HDD migration. An O means that hard drive migration works, and an X means that hard drive between them is not allowed. Plus series. What is the 1817 considered? It's not a plus, but it's not a J. So it's a value. If your source, so source and destination. Is the source the top or the column? Oh, here we go. All models ending with J, SE, or Slim belong to the J series. All models without a suffix ending with Play belong to Value. Plus is a plus. Starting with SA, starting with FS. Okay. So what is Voyager? Info Center. It is a DS1817. Let's compare the two. Now I'm curious. Control panel, Info Center. So I didn't know I was buying an Alpine AL314 CPU. That's disappointing. I thought it was the Intel Atom. Okay. Annapurna Labs AL. What was it? 314. I know nothing about these CPUs. An Amazon company. Is this their Nitro CPUs? No. The stuff they're using in AWS? January 2016. Announced the Alpine platform on chip and subsystem product line that enables OEMs and service providers to deliver next generation digital services for home gateways, Wi-Fi routers, and NAS devices. With a wide portfolio of platforms using 32-bit and 64 ARM architectures, Alpine provides high performance for UHD video streaming, secure storage. Okay. Well, I mean, you know what? I'm going to let it prove itself. I don't want to be negative Nancy about it. I've got more RAM, I've got more cores. And it looks like not quite the clock speed, but that's less important than the cores and the RAM. DSM, do we need a DSM update? Let's look at that. Control panel update. Your DSM version's up to date. Perfect. Okay. All right. So what I want to make sure... So what is... If any of the following is applicable, please migrate via Migration Assistant. The second, how you migrate your Synology NAS via Migrate. The simple setup wizard in Migration Assistant will guide you through the processes of copying volume LUNs, data, and settings of packages and system configurations from one NAS to another without migrating hard drives. What if I want to migrate hard drives? No. So I want to go... We skipped ahead. Damn it. So I want to see if I can migrate. My source Synology is not listed above. Refer to the table below to see whether your source and destination are able to migrate through HDD migration. What I don't understand, I'm going to assume that source is the row, destination is the column. So plus series... Like I don't know, I don't see any designation for anything without a plus. It's either a J. I don't have XS or XS plus. That's the rack mount stuff. I don't have an SA and I don't have an FS. Where is just the... It's like the plus series without a plus symbol. But is it still a plus if it doesn't have the plus? No. That's silly. Destination NAS must have enough drive slots to accommodate all the drives belonging to the RAID volume on the... Okay, that's covered. Drive type. Please make sure the drive type and size is supported on the destination NAS. For example, you cannot insert SAS drives into a model that only supports SATA. Fair. Single volume size beyond 16 terabyte. Most NAS models in the J series and Value series support a single volume size up to 16 terabytes. We're going to have a lot bigger than that. If the single volume size in the source NAS is larger, please select a destination NAS that supports single volume size of 108 terabytes before migration. This section explains steps to migrate via hard drive migration. You may choose to either migrate between different models or identical models. Before you attempt this, please make sure you have read through the requirements. Always do your backups. All right. Different models. So I'm going from an 1813 plus to an 1817. That feels like it's the same model. Pretty close. Go to the configuration backup tab. Okay. So we're going to back up the configuration on enterprise. Where was it? Update. Config backup. Backup configuration. And save the export or import a config file to backup and restore. Okay, so backup configuration. The following system will be backed up. Cool. Yes. Let's drop it into DatacenterDude, and we'll just drop it right here. Got it? Done. All right. Cool. If you need to back up any data mentioned above, no, not going to do that. All right. Shut down both devices. Wait for both to shut down completely. Remove the hard drives from the source Synology NAS. Please take note of the order each drive was installed in. Install the drives in the destination NAS. Hard drives must be installed in the same order they were installed in the source Synology NAS. Okay? For details regarding numbering, refer to the download center. Fine. Turn on the destination NAS and wait for it to boot up. Open a browser. Okay. Find the destination NAS and double-click it. Okay. The destination, the status of it should be migratable. Okay. If you see a warning message similar to note all data on the hard drives will be deleted, this means data on the installed hard drives will be deleted. In this case, please stop, close the browser, and make sure you have installed hard drives in the same order as they were installed in the source NAS. Okay. Choose the option to migrate files and settings. Keep my files in most of the settings. Keep my files only. That's tempting. Because I wouldn't want to change like name or permissions or anything like that. I don't believe. I'd want to create new shares. I'd want to make sure things were named mostly the same. The other option here that I've got is I could just configure, because I've got NAS as a share coming off the Synology, and then I've got NAS 10 GB coming off of Voyager. I could just copy and paste that, but that's going to be 7 terabytes. Nobody's got a few weeks to sit around and wait on that to finish. Right? That's why we're going down this route. So, what we could do, let me think about this. What we could do is just shut down Voyager completely, rename it to Enterprise, bring the whole thing over, and make the new 10 gig Synology Enterprise with all of the same settings and IP, and we'll make the old NAS Voyager. We'll make that new one Voyager. So effectively, we're just giving Enterprise a more modern processor, more RAM, and 10 gig Ethernet. And we've still got the older Synology back there. We can still name it Voyager and give it the TOT211 IP, but it'll be the older Intel Atom with just 1 gig networking and 2 gigs of RAM to use for whatever we deem necessary. Maybe a backup of some sort. Destination. Target. So choose and install, enter a new password to the admin account. Install now. Once installation is complete, sign into the destination NAS. Old and busted, new hotness. Absolutely, man. Exactly. Once installation is complete, sign into the new NAS, to the destination NAS. Go to Control Panel, Update, Restore Configuration tab, Restore Configuration. Click Browse and choose the backup file that we saved. Choose the All System Configurations option. Click OK. A warning will appear. Yes. Wait for system configuration to be restored. When finished, your data will be successfully migrated to the destination Synology NAS. Note: during the migration procedure, you might encounter a warning message when using Assistant to install DSM on the destination NAS. There are 2 messages that are likely to show up depending on the situation. 1, all hard drives will be deleted, or 2, all data on the hard drives number will be deleted. If you see any of the above mentioned messages, abort, 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 and try performing it via hyper backup. You guys want to try this? We got a little bit of prep work to do. I need to unmount these shares. Yeah, so let's go ahead and do that. So disconnect. I've probably got something open. Let me get out of the... Let's just go to... Sure, downloads. NAS, disconnect. Google Drive, disconnect. I wonder how much of my graphics and stuff like that are stored in Google Drive that I'm pulling to facilitate the stream right now. There's one way to find out. Let's go ahead and shut down Voyager. Actually, no. I want to volume. Let's remove that volume of just the 1 terabytes. Right? Don't need it. Did I actually put anything on there? Great. No. God bless it. Give me back control of my computer, please. 172, 16, 10, 211. Fine, yes. We've got an ISO. We can get rid of that. Yep. And we've got nothing. Awesome. Asia disk tests. ISOs. Whoa! That's all in the recycle bin? Alright, so that can go away. So let's shut down. Let's delete the volume. That is Voyager, right? And this is the 1 terabyte volumes. Yes. God, I was using 50 gigs just in recycle bin of ISOs where we were doing copy tests. Yeah, go for it. Password, fine. We'll delete that volume. Things going nuts over there. Can't really tell. All right. Did I click submit? Oh, there we go. Ooh. Itchy beard today. Oh. Removing, stopping services. Where is everybody today, Ninja? I'm wondering if everybody lost me when things crashed. There is no volume in your system. All right. So we got rid of the volume. We've got the drives in there. We need to pull those drives out. We need to shut down Enterprise. And we're basically going to go drive, 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 drive 8 times. All right. So let's also shut down Enterprise. Actually, excuse me. Do you need to remove storage pool 1? All data on the volume be deleted. Okay. I don't think I've ever done this. And this is on Voyager, so it's just basically an empty volume. So we'll see what happens. I think it automatically creates the first. Oh no, you have to choose your RAID and all that stuff. Okay. So there's all the drives, all initialized, no hot spare, no cache, no storage pool, no volume, unused drives. This is pretty cool to look at in a sort of setup fashion to see all of that. All right, so now we'll just go shut down Voyager. So we've got a configuration saved. Disk station will soon power off. Fine. Is my Synology assistant still on here? It is. All right. So we'll kick that guy off to the side. Actually, is it gonna still find Voyager? Probably not. Is it powered off now? Yes, it is. Okay. All right, so there's Enterprise. And what I want to do now, I want to double check I've got that configuration file. Where did I put that in downloads? Where did I save that? Thought I put it in here. 2026-24. Yeah, okay. I did put it in there. All right, so we've got it. The problem is it's saved. Yeah, that's not going to work. Okay. Glad I found that. So let's put that on the C. Let's just put that on the root of C. So just paste. You'll need... God bless it. Desktop. Copy. Desktop. Paste. So there it is. Okay. So we've got a copy saved to the desktop. I'm glad I thought about that before we unmounted and moved these drives. All right. So now all we're going to do, we've got a copy of the configuration. Let's double check. And then all we're going to do is move the drives to the new Synology. And we should come up as the migration assistant. I want to double check that one more time. If you wish to replace all hard drives along with replacing your old Synology drive, Migration Assistant simplifies the migration by allowing you to migrate data at the volume and block level LUNs, packages, and system configurations without the hassle of manually moving hard drives to your new NAS. However, there are some restrictions. Okay, refer to this article. Which Synology NAS models does Migration Assistant support? The below table lists NAS models that are supported to work as either source or target. The source server refers to the original NAS from which data... Okay, so it's an 1813 plus. So where is the table? So 13 series is the 1813 plus. And I don't have the plus. What I'm really concerned about is I don't have a plus. The models in the below table are... Oh, here we go. Are supported as either source or target. However, please note they cannot be used as target servers for the models mentioned in the above table. What? I'm wondering if it's just an age thing and a technology thing. So the models in the below table are supported by Migration Assistant as a source or a target. They cannot be used as targets. So that's my exact scenario. I've got an 1813 source that I want to go to an 1817. You know what? I should have done this diligence beforehand. Why is the question? Is it the difference in processors? I'd really like to know that. I really need to go find. I've got one 8-bay Synology. I've got another 8-bay Synology. They're virtually identical. But I can't migrate between them? Why? Why not? I don't feel like using Windows File Manager to copy 7 terabytes of data. I mean, if it was over 10 gig, it wouldn't be a big deal. But the old one doesn't have 10 gig. You guys kind of want to try it anyway? I don't, because I don't want to lose my data. And I know better than that. Kind of stuck right now. I'm not seeing a lot of options other than just manual copying of files, which I don't want to do. I do not want to do that. Why in the world? Let's go to Synology.com. And let's see if we can get a chatbot. Is there a contact us? Support. Contact us. Live chat. Ooh, yeah. Let's see how this goes. Can I move this? No. Name Nick. Sure. Nope. Thank you, Chrome, but nope. Serial number. Model name. 1817. Sure. Start the chat. Hi, Alex. Are you a bot or a real person? Yep. Give me 1 second. There we go. Is not responding. I am working on a project to migrate drives from an 1813 plus to an 1817 with 10 gig E. I'm seeing in your real person, I think. I'm seeing in your docs that is not a supported config, and I was wondering why. Let's see what they say. Well, I'm curious. I bet you guys are too. And I really want to understand the limitations here. Is it a limitation of the AL? What was it? A 317? Control panel. The Annapurna thing. Oh. Because everything else seems like it should be, it's the same, basically. But let's find out. Let's hear it directly from from them. Oh, man. I mean, do you mean how the HDD is not supported listed in this KB article? No. No. This table. Effectively, I have an 8-drive SHR2 volume on the 1813 Plus, and I'd like to wholesale migrate that drive, that volume, and drives to the 1817. Can I safely do that? Let's see. Storage guys talking storage. Yeah. Oh, man. This is good stuff. That table is scary. I don't know if I have anything on site here big enough to facilitate a backup of 7 terabytes. That's the other thing that I'm a little scared of. That aren't those two Synologies, to be clear. So, we're double checking some things. We'll find out for sure, but if he says 2 thumbs up, you're good to go, we're shutting the Enterprise down, and we're going to pull those drives and move them down to the down to Voyager. That's the next step. Then we're going to bring it back to life. Then once we do that, we can start doing drive swaps. But if it comes down to it, maybe we can use Migration Assistant to just move the volume over to the new initialized 10 and 14 terabyte drives in the mixed mode. The response is coming. I can see typing. What was the article that he linked? What did he say? Since the OG device is a Plus model and the other isn't, Migration Assistant and HDD migration are not available. Let me get the option that would work for you. So, migrate... You know what? I mean, at this point, before we get too far down this road, is there an 1817 Plus? There is. 1817 Plus. So, if I were to get an 1817 Plus, all of it's supported. Or let's see what he comes back with. If he tells me hyper backup or just raw file copy between the two volumes, I'm entertaining the idea of maybe we just send this guy back, if I can, and get a plus for an extra $100. One of the reasons I bought the 17 is because it was on sale. Thinking maybe that's not the best idea now. Or we go find an 18, 19 plus for an extra $150. This is one of those things that's going to be around for the next decade. So I'm going to do it right the first time. And I hate... Again, we'll wait to see what he comes back with. But I hate that I'm not able to do that. It seems so easy to do that I could point Migration Assistant at 2 different devices and say, see this volume over here? Put it over here. You know what would be fun is to use NetApp's Cloud Sync. That could be fun. And we're waiting. Let's go look at something while we're waiting on him real quick. Let me size this better. There we go. While he's looking stuff up, let's go to orders. And let's find the Synology down next page. Right there. So I bought it because it was really on sale. And I paid not even that. $150. When did I order that? Delivered May 12th. So we are, if I needed to do a return, and it was through Amazon, I could just say wrong model and pay the difference. Yeah, unless he comes back with something very clever and easy, I think that's what we're going to do. Yep. And we'll just put this off. We'll work on some other stuff. There's plenty to do. I've got 3 Google videos to make this week. We can work on some video production stuff. There's plenty to do. I want to do this right. I want to do it right the first time. I've got Western Digital involved. I don't want to half-ass this. I don't want to go, I don't want to go around my elbow to get to my ass, frankly, because somebody decided to put an ARM processor in there. Poop. So what I'm not seeing is return or replace items. So get product support. Talk to an expert. Return window closed on June 11th. Shit. I think if I called the Amazon support number and said, I got the wrong one, I'm going to give you more money. Or maybe Synology themselves. Who knows? Did we lose you, Alex? It's been 6-7 minutes. What's up, guys? If you're just joining us, we are waiting on Synology to come back, and we're facing an incompatibility issue that I was not expecting. Apparently, I cannot use the DS1817 as a target to migrate drives and volumes to. If I have... Nope, sorry, just got really... Okay. If there's not an easy solution, I'd almost rather swap it out for an 1819 plus at this point. It was just purchased on May 11th. I mainly bought this one, this model specifically, for the onboard. I'm telling this guy the same thing. Onboard 10 gigabit Ethernet ports. And I feel like that's all that's doing is creating more work for me. The whole plan, all along, was to take the drives and move them down to the new one. But the more I'm thinking about it, and then we could replace the drives individually and let RAID do its thing. We could gracefully fail the drives, eject the drives so that it wrote everything off. So you can do this via the hot plug recovery method. This is normally used when the DSM partition is corrupt and needs to be reinstalled. However, it also works as a method to move the data to a different NAS. Okay. Hot plug recovery method. That sounds scary. Okay, I'm willing to give it a shot. Is there a article? Sorry for making you guys wait like this. This is diligence that needs to be done before we really get started. I might have to put this off a couple of weeks and contact Synology again and see, if they're willing to help with this project, basically. Amazon is probably not going to let me return that just by default. I'm going to have to fight because it closed on 2 weeks ago. You just had to go and build a data center, didn't you, Nick? You couldn't have just stuck with the original plan. Happen to have some walkthrough docs on the process. Okay, he says 1 sec. Oh, wow, it's showing up on every... That's cool. Yay, cookies. Yep. Yep. Not ideal, folks. Not ideal. I'm still thinking about seeing if I can swap this thing out. Let's look at the 1819 Plus while we're waiting. Because I want to see... I think I also have to get the expansion card. So we look at the back of it. Yeah. So this one has 4 1 gig onboard ports. 3 USB 3s, it looks like. Type A's. It's got an eSATA. and it's got an expansion slot. So you can get the 10 gig expansion slot. Plus adapter card. Which adapter card do I use? What's the adapter card? Oh, look at that. Little NVMe action going on there. I guess that's for the SSD caching front end. That's kind of cool. If I didn't need 10 gig. How do I choose? I don't know. I want the... No, what? That's the M.2. 32 gig kit. Holy smokes. That thing can take 32 gigs of RAM? Sure. Let's do a DS1819 Plus 10 gig adapter. There it is. Oh, there goes my 130 bucks. It's only a single port? Come on. They've got to have a 2-port. $300? I think we're sticking with the one we got. Yeah. Wow. Okay. Copied and pasted. Here's the instruction. You'll want to make a configuration backup of DSM from the control panel back and restore config backup. Before you do this, done. This procedure will wipe your current DSM install and packages, but will retain your data. Remove all the hard drives and SSDs from the system. Find a spare hard drive or SSD, which I've got. Insert it into the system drive bay 1. Use Synology Assistant to install the DSM onto this spare drive. Do not create a volume. If a volume was created during installation, please remove it before proceeding to the next step. Fine. When the DSM is fully running on the spare drive and you're able to log in and connect through the web interface, shut down the NAS. Physically install all of the original drives back into the NAS, except for the drive bay where the spare drive is located. Make sure to leave the spare drive in drive bay 1 as this holds the DSM installation. Boot up the NAS and verify that you can see your data, including iSCSI LUNs if you had any. The volume status at this point will be degraded. Optional, repair the volume. Under Repair and select Disk 1, it will need to erase this drive in order to add it back to the RAID. Wait, I missed something. Find a spare hard drive that you don't mind completely erasing and insert it into the... Okay. Well, I mean, theoretically, I could take one of the big boys and do that. The problem is... I'm only able to put 7 of my 8 drives. So what happens with the 8th drive from the original volume? Make sure to leave the spare drive in drive bay 1. Boot up the NAS and verify you can see your data, including iSCSI. The volume will at this point be degraded. Optional, repair the volume. Under Storage Manager, Storage Pool, repair and select Disk 1. It will erase this drive in order to add it back to the RAID. Huh. Well, what if you're using all 8 drives? 2 of them are parity disks. 6 are capacity disks. I suppose as long as I've got one parity disk in there, it doesn't really matter. After you're back up and running with the spare and the rest of the hard drives, you can remove the spare and put in the last drive and repair the storage pool. So if I'm working with an SHR2 volume, I can just eliminate one of the parity disks, parity drives from the 8 original, and it can rebuild as long as it has one parity drive. It's still online currently. Is there any additional prep I can do ahead of time to make this easier? Ejecting one parity, graceful ejection of one parity disk. I don't know that would even matter. It's double disk parity, so it's writing it twice. Yeah, we're sticking with this one. We're going to stick it out because I don't feel like going through the return hassle, having to drop an additional $150 for the 1819 Plus, then having to drop an additional $300 just to be able to get back to the configuration that I have now. You can create a hyper backup task to the local disks and back up just the available applications. Huh? So the transition is more smooth and less to set back up. You can create a hyper backup task to the local disk. What local disk? And back up just the available applications. So the transition is more smooth and less to set back up. What does he mean by available applications? Like Plex? Let's look. Oh, come on. Damn timeouts. Damn security. Package Center. So installed. Why do I guess OAuth is a default. Universal Search is a default. Cloud Station. I don't know that I'm even using Cloud Station anymore. You guys want to try this? I'll say this. We've only got about 40 minutes left. I do have a hard stop here that I have to jump to. I don't know that I can knock this out in 40 minutes. I feel like today was a bit of a wasted stream. As I made this discovery haphazardly, and it blew up on me at the very beginning. Plus, it doesn't look like a lot of you guys were available today. Thank you very much for joining. I feel like there's a video here to talk about and to educate people on, but I don't know if we really got anything done today. I'm not sure what he's talking about when he says you can create a hyper backup. It's their backup software. Is hyper backup to the local disk and back up just the available applications so the transition is more smooth and less to set back up. I'm not sure I understand what the hell he's talking about. Not wasted learning experience? Yeah, man. So Hyper Backup. Let's install Hyper Backup. By wasted, I mean I didn't get done what I intended to get done. That's all. Not that it was the time was wasted. Come on. Oh, I think I see what he means. So we take a backup to this volume right here locally so that when we move the drives over, we can facilitate a restore even easier. Okay. Let's open it. Here's a wizard. All right, so Synology. I need to make sure I get a copy of this. Control C. If I have problems and need to contact you folks again, what did you call? How should I say what I'm doing? Hot plug migration. All right, so now please select your backup destination, local folder. Next, create a backup task in shared folder NAS Enterprise 1, sure. Where's the applications? See, that's the part I'm... Now you can back up only files within folders. I'm not sure I completely understand the hyper backup use case here. I'm also not sure I completely understand the hyper backup use case, as it's just... Is it backing up state? Because it just prompts me to choose from a file tree, directory tree. Yeah. I mean, it's interesting to me to see how this all works. So, local folder. Nope, we're going to put it in NAS. Fine. But when I look at Google Drive, it's going to drop all of the stuff down. It's just a file tree. But if I look at Plex, I'm also sitting over here wondering, should we do the drive swap first in the 1813 in the source and then facilitate the move with the larger capacity drives? Don't select anything from the directory tree and hit next. Okay. The only thing I see in there is OAuth service. Which might be a good thing. Share forward scratch backup doing it along with the application. Okay. Yeah, just mentioned that you are migrating to a different NAS via hot plug recovery. That's the only app that can be backed up. Then not worth it. Yep, I agree. And frankly, I'm just using this as a pure NAS anyway. I'm not really running a bunch of apps on it. Yeah, this is mostly a pure NAS. Not really running a lot of apps on it, aside from Plex. Okay, so the hyper backup thing's out. We can go ahead and let's get rid of that. Gone. Sure. Don't need any of that. Last question for you. Currently, this volume is sitting on 2 terabyte drives, and I have a combo of 10 terabyte and 14 terabyte drives for the new one. Would it be best to migrate the volume first using the hot plug, what did he call it? Recovery method, then a disk swap after? Or is there another method you think would be better? Well, this was a educational stream today. You guys got to live on YouTube watch Nick chat with a chatbot or a support person. Sorry, Alex, I didn't mean to call you a chatbot. Heads up on a lot of this stuff. If you're looking at moving into storage, this stuff is uber important. Compatibility with their software and their OS. Migrate first, then swap. Perfect. That's what I thought too. Thanks for all the help. I did not save this anywhere, so let me drag right there, and we'll copy, and we'll go Notepad. Where did it go? What the hell? Oh, we can close tree size. Where in the world is Notepad? Why is it way over here? Oh, weird. Oh, different resolutions. All right, we'll paste that in there. So I got a copy of those instructions and put that back. Ugh, come on, Windows. And we'll do that. All right, good to go. Close the chat. Send me a, there's no send me a transcript option. I'm glad I copied that, or at least we've got it out of here. So here's what we're up against, folks. Option A, I could wrangle with Amazon and Synology, try to send back the 1817, spend an extra $150 to get a chassis that doesn't have 10 gig ports, and buy an expansion card for another $300 to get me back to the point that I'm at today. That would allow me to take the drives in the 1813 Plus that I have now and put them in the 1819 Plus that I would get. Migration assistant, bada bing, bada boom, drive, whole thing migrated. Or I can keep the one I've got with the onboard 10 gig ports, 2 1 gig, 2 10 gig. not pay any more money for that functionality. Actually save money, if I'm being honest. Because the original one is... So, $270. And then the actual Synology itself... 8-bay single, $940. I paid $785 for the 1817. So I'd have to spend. So what do we say? 940 plus 270. Just to get where I'm at today to make the migration easier, $1,200. And if we net out the difference, minus, what did I say, $780? I'd have to spend $430, probably wait 2 to 4 weeks to do the return, then the ship, if I could even return it at all, because we're past that date, 30 days. So, looks like we're doing this. We're not going to do it today, however. I'm going to wrap up a little bit early here because I feel like I'm frustrated. I'm defeated, but not. We found a solution. We were able to talk to somebody. Thank you to Alex over at Synology for the help via chatbot, or just chat, I guess. And so here's what we're going to do. We're going to do what's referred to as a hot plug recovery. I'm going to take all of those green 1 terabytes out of the new Synology. Excuse me, I got a little Diet Coke burps. We're going to take all those green 1 terabyte drives out of the Synology. We're going to put one of them, we're going to leave one of them. Go to the migration assist, or the Synology assistant, boot it up from new as a 1 drive thing. And then take... So the beauty of the current 8-bay that I've got, it has 8 2 terabyte drives in it. 2 of them are parity drives. So basically, if I remove one of the parity drives, it'll operate, but it'll still operate in a degraded state, but fully functional. I can then power it down, take those 7, right, 6 drives plus 1 parity, put them into the same slots, and then add back the parity drive. All 2 terabytes. 2 terabyte drives. Once that's done and we're back up and running, then we can take we take that 1 terabyte out that we used temporarily, put the other parity drive in. Then we go through, once it's back up and running, and we can swap drives to the big boys. Awesome. Storage! Yay! You know what? It's better than copying 7 terabytes over the wire. I think one of the coolest things Synology could do is figure out a way to make DSM recognize Synology's similar models and just have it run in shelf mode, JBOD mode. I could migrate all of this over, and then I have that extra 10, 11 terabytes just as its own volume, but still managed by the same system. I don't see why that's not a thing. Why haven't they done that? And maybe it's just different strokes for different folks, right? It's one of those things where most normal people are not going to have more than one 8-bay Synology. I do want to show you guys one thing, though, before we get out of here. Give me 1 sec. So the one cool thing that I wanted to talk about was the drive caddies that they come in. No screws anywhere. If you've never worked with one of them before, it's really cool. You basically got little pull tabs here on the front, and they're just little snaps. And they snap in, right? And they go into the sides of the hard drive, the little things. Come on, focus. Anyway, so you can just literally pull these tabs off each side. Hard drive comes out, put new drive in. You can buy extras of these. I think they're like $10 a piece. No, they're more than that. I think they're $35 or $40 a piece because they've got the locking mechanism here. Plus, it puts the drive it aligns the drive perfectly, so that when you slide it back in and give it a little click, 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 and it kind of hinges into place. It's got a little foot on the bottom of it right there, so that when you do that, let me make sure you can see that. It makes sure to lock it into place. It's really well designed. I have the experience of owning one of these for the last 6 years has been phenomenal. It's moved with me. No, I didn't buy it till I went back to LA. So early 2014, almost like 6 months after I went back to LA, I got it. And it made it across country, and I've moved house once since then in the same town. And I keep my Synology box with a handle on it and the big foam. And I unplug everything, put the foam on it, put it in the box, the handle on it, and it goes. It's awesome. So I do love the Caddies. I do love their design. I feel like more enterprise manufacturers could do that as well. Just quick, pull it off. Quick, pull it off. Set those aside. Drive. To put one in, right? You've got your empty caddy. Put it in. Give it a little pop. Pull down. Don't hit it too hard. And then you just take basically you align those. Go in there. Always do it at kind of an angle too, because you want that top piece to snap in. So bottom piece will go in there. Come on. There we go. Just got to get the holes lined up. Snap, snap. Good to go. My fat fingers. Snap, snap. Good to go. Walk over to the front. Push it in from the bottom. Snap it in. If you've ever worked with a storage array, you're going to have a blast. So that's that. Friday. Let's plan on doing this on Friday. Friday, first thing, before we ever touch any of the big drives, big capacity drives, we're going to migrate Enterprise to the new 1817. We're going to use this hot plug recovery method. I'm going to save these instructions. File, save as, desktop, Synology, hot plug recovery. There we go. Save it to desktop. All right, so I got that. Yeah. Friday, we're going to do it. I don't have time anymore right now today. It shouldn't take much more than 2 hours, but we'll see. The good news is if I take the volume and I want to write, I need a white, I got to find my grease marker somewhere so I can remove it later, but I want to go and on the front fascia of I want to write 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, or 0 through 7. And make sure that I'm putting everything right back in the right slot. I also want to designate if it's a parity drive or not. What do I mean by that? Let's go look. You can see when you go to Control Panel, no, it's in the Start menu. Storage Manager. And you go to your disks, and you go to your storage pool. Oh, where does it do this? Where does it do this? Storage allocation, HDDs. It shows you somewhere which ones are parity drives. And that's what I have to find. 2 drive fault tolerance. Storage pool. No spares. All allocated to volume 1. Okay, I'll have to look that up. Action. There's the repair option we're going to want to do. But it's in a healthy state. It'll end up being in a degraded state. So I'm wondering if they're striping parity across all of the drives. Or are there 2 drives that are designated as parity drives, a more traditional RAID 6, like we know and love? Configurations. Lower the impact on system performance. RAID resync speed limits. Interesting. Okay. Yeah, I will definitely want to turn resync on faster on the new one, so we can get past that. We can let it go. Will affect the speed limit when running data scrubbing, repairing. Yeah, we'll definitely want to change that. What's customize? No. Run RAID sync faster. Okay. We'll definitely want to change that when we're doing the repair. Also, it's going to be a lot easier to repair 2 terabyte drives as opposed to doing 10 and 14 terabyte drives. That's going to be a big deal. But one thing I do want to ask Synology again, probably offline, how do you tell which drives are parity drives? Or is SHR, let's look it up. Well, we can do that last thing here before we get out of here. SHR-2. There was a great article on it. What is Synology Hybrid RAID? Here we go. No. SHR allow users to handle RAID management, expand storage, maximize capability, even if they don't have a fine grasp of various RAID levels. 1 or 2 disk worth of redundancy, meaning the SHR volume can suffer up to 2 disks lost, and the data volume will still be available for use. Note that a RAID volume is not a backup system. Thank you, Synology. No, it's not required. Oh, you can run it in JBOD mode. See you, Ninja. That's interesting. Would I connect it just over an eSATA? Could I run it in JBOD mode and just hang it off the other one with an eSATA port? Huh. Okay. So, classic RAID with 1 disk, Synology hybrid RAID with 1 disk. We're looking at 500 gig. I see this. To use 2-disk redundant SHR, you will need 4 drives minimum. Okay. Can I expand an SHR volume with additional drives such as 5 times 1 terabyte or 15 times 1 terabyte? Yes, you can expand an SHR volume by adding additional drives to the existing array, especially for those who want to expand their storage due to their budget or storage needs. Note that if you expand an SHR with more drives, your NAS may require a lot of time to make the installed drives usable. We suggest a quick way for expansion: schedule the time for expansion and expand the drives when your NAS is in use. After all, expanding the drives is more time efficient than adding more drives. Okay. Oh, I see what it means. Go ahead and prep and initialize the drives, but then expand the volume as you see fit. You can also do that programmatically based on thresholds and stuff as well, from what I understand. Except drives from right. Suppose your SHR volume is built on 1 terabyte drives. To replace the older drives or add new ones, you will have to use drives equal to or greater. That makes sense. Can I change the disk fault tolerance of an SHR volume to 1 disk fault tolerance? Yes. This is interesting. If your single disk SHR volume goes without disk fault tolerance, you can add 1 more drive to establish 1 disk fault tolerance and equivalent to the redundancy of RAID 1. Install an additional drive, go to storage manager volume, expand the volume by adding hard disks. The new drive is added. Okay. Can you change the disk fault tolerance of SHR to 1 disk? Oh, well, that's not what I thought it was. So still there's no... there's nothing that tells you... So they must be doing the parity striping across all drives. Which would make sense. Would make a lot more sense of how this works. For expert users, classic RAID levels are recommended if they prefer to manually manage the RAID system following a okay. SHR divides each drive volume into smaller chunks and creates additional redundant storage. By using SHR, you can use the unavailable 4.5 terabyte volume as smaller usable chunks, therefore maximizing storage capacity of each drive. So it's chunking it on each drive. So really, it's not about having 2 disks of parity. It's pre-reserving It's reserving in advance, almost like thick provisioning, capacity and space. Unlike classic RAID, SHR makes the newly upgraded storage readily available for use. If the drives are replaced with larger ones, the upgraded storage can be used as soon as 2 of the disks are upgraded to form a redundant storage array. This quick-for-use feature of SHR allows users to meet the rising needs of frequently upgrading large disk arrays while making the data accessible on demand. In addition, as a financially viable approach, SHR helps users achieve maximum storage capacity without purchasing an entire set of drives. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 1 terabytes, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So that's 10 drives. 8 terabytes of redundant storage, 4 terabytes of redundant storage. 2 terabytes. I see what they're doing. They really don't explain how they're carving out their parity, though. Interesting. More stuff we're going to have to look into, but we will be back on Friday, guys. Take care. Thanks for tuning in today. We're going to move some storage on Friday. Sorry about the mishaps today, but they happen. Take care, guys. Peace.